Hello, good afternoon, Numi Nation. Van Cook here. I'm one of the co-founders and an old-time inspirator of New Minds Enrichment. For this session at 4 o'clock, Mr. Justin and I tag team and take turns delivering a cool project or activity from one of our original New Minds courses. So this has us both super excited. So in the first few years of New Minds, we started in 2013. Justin and I created so many of the courses from scratch, from our imagination. As we grew and we got more and more inspirators on board, the brain trust grew and we got more creative input. And now we have a whole, team of super creative individuals helping us create courses. But this is an opportunity for Justin and I to dip into the vault and pull out some what we call classic activities. Hey, Adam, speaking of great inspirators, Adam is on board here. So today I'm going back to a course that I wrote way back when on codes and ciphers. Okay. So I have always been really fascinated about the way human beings share and hide information. Secrets are as old as time, and all throughout history, as far back as you want to go, humans have always wanted or needed to hide information from other humans, right? And so this course is a look at different methods and tools and tricks that humans have used to hide information from each other. So today we're gonna pull from the Codes and Ciphers course a very cool activity. It's a classic. It's the Caesar cipher, named after Julius Caesar, the Roman emperor. I'm sure he sounds familiar. And so, here he was leading this massive empire, literally an empire with so many generals and people who he had to order around across a wide geographical region, right? So, nowadays we think of communication being so quick, right? We send an email, we've got text, we've got a WhatsApp, whatever it might be, we shoot a little Slack over and it seems so instant. But back then they needed information to travel vast distances. And there was a lot of opportunity for that information to be intercepted by enemies and read. So Julius Caesar had a cipher that he is actually kind of named after him because he used it so much to communicate with his generals. And so what we're about to do is replicate the exact method that Julius Caesar used to send secret information to his generals. Okay, here's what you're going to need. I'll tell you what you're going to need, and then I'll pause for a few minutes in case you want to go grab it, and then we'll continue with the activity. Okay, I kept it really simple today, right? It's our, for most of us, it's our first few days in stuck at home. So we don't have a chance to run to the store and grab a lot of things. So you're going to need a piece of computer paper. Okay. I have mine on a board because I'm going to be showing you guys some stuff, but you don't need a clipboard, just a piece of paper, a ruler or something to act as a ruler. And on purpose, I actually grabbed just a folder to show how flexible we can be, just something that's going to help you draw a pretty straight line. And then 2 colors of pen, marker, pencil. I've got a black and a red, and they're markers because it'll be easier for you guys to see when I hold it up. 2 different colored pencils, 2 pens, 2 markers, anything will work. You just need 2 different colors to make this work a lot easier. Okay. I'm going to give you just a moment to gather those things if you don't have them. And in the meantime, just chat a little bit about so the title of this course is Codes and Ciphers. Now, a lot of people use those 2 words interchangeably. But yeah, Adam, good connection. Adam making connections over there. The Ides of March just passed too. Timely code in reference to the Roman Empire and Julius Caesar and the times that we're in right now, right? And it being March. So it's like a super connection. So there's actually a difference between a code and a cipher. Technically, now we use those interchangeably and people understand us, so it's not such a big deal. But technically, a cipher is a way of hiding information in which each character is replaced by another character. So each letter of the alphabet is replaced by some other character. I say character, not letter, because it could be another letter, could be a number, it could be a symbol. That's a cipher. Whereas a code is a system in which an entire word is replaced by something else. Okay, so an entire word could be replaced by another word. entire word could be replaced by a picture or a symbol or a numerical code, but that's kind of the difference. A classic example of a code is the Navajo code talkers during World War II. This is super fascinating. If you want a little research project when you're at home, look up the Navajo code talkers. They were recruited, the Navajo Native Americans were recruited during World War II to be special kind of code-bearing embedded individuals in army units, and they would speak to each other in Navajo, but not just straight Navajo, with a code, where entire words, strategic words related to the war would be changed into Navajo words, but not direct translation. So they might say potato means bomb, or carrot means missile, some crazy stuff like that. It's fascinating. Okay, all right. So now I've given you a few minutes with my little side chatter there, which I think was really interesting, for you to grab your materials. Again, 2 different colored writing utensils, a piece of paper, mine's on a clipboard, but you don't need a clipboard, and then something to act as a ruler. I'm just gonna use a folder, okay? So here's what you're gonna do. We are replicating the Caesar cipher, the same system that Julius Caesar himself used to send secret information to his generals in the Roman Empire. All right. You've got your paper, right? Get your ruler. All you need to do, this is super simple. Just draw a straight line. And am I looking for perfection? No, it's just to divide two lines of letters. So that's the purpose, okay? All right. Once you've got your line there, this is really straightforward. Do you know the alphabet? I think you know the alphabet, right? Okay, of course. Well, you may not. There might be some little toddlers out there still learning, but starting on the left-hand side, all I want you to do is write the alphabet going across, okay? And don't worry, I'm going nice and slow. If you're a kiddo out there following along with me, you'll have plenty of time. If you're watching this as a saved video, you can pause. A, B, C, D, E, F. I got distracted. I was joking and mocking people about not knowing the alphabet, and then I go and mess up a letter. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and so on. So what I'm going to do is, it's like those cooking shows, where they start cooking something and then they go, magically they go open the oven and it's done. It's because they had another batch going, right? So I have another batch going back here. Here is what you're going to want it to look like, okay? So we're going to have, let me adjust that light a little bit, okay? So you're going to have the alphabet going across like that, and then what I want you to do is draw lines between all the letters that go down to the bottom row, okay? Down to the bottom row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause again and fill it in with some exciting side chatter in case you're doing this live with me right now. I'll go ahead and keep this up so you know what you're doing. Don't worry about the yellow or the red letters down below yet, please. Just write your black or whatever color you're using. Write your alphabet across the top and draw the lines between the letters. That's all I want you to do right now, because the bottom is going to take some explanation. Okay, so I told you a little bit about the difference between a code and a cipher, right? That's pretty exciting. And since we're on the topic of Julius Caesar and all the ways that they hid information, there are so many other ways that they've used to hide information that are just kind of mind-boggling. Back when times were a lot more slow and things moved more slowly, here's a classic one that I never forget. There was a case of a general who wanted to pass on some top secret information. So he took one of his human servants, aka slaves, this is back in Roman times, and he shaved that person's head, tattooed the secret information onto the top of their head, right? And waited till their hair grew back, and then sent them, across enemy lines to the destination recipient, and then with instructions to shave that person's head where they could reveal the message. That's crazy. There's another classic code called the Scatale cipher. Okay, I'm not a Latin scholar, so I may have mispronounced that. But in this case, you need like a rod or a pole or something like that, and you need a long strip of something like a belt or even a strip of paper, and you write your code. You twist the belt around the rod, and then you write your code across the strip. And so then when you unfold it, it just looks like nonsense, like there's symbols or letters and things like that that don't mean much. But when you wrap it around a rod of the same diameter, amazingly, the code is revealed. So you could, what they would do would, they would use like a leather belt. They would wrap it around the rod. They would write their cipher, put it back on as a belt or something like that, and then send it to the destination. And the way this worked was, if you and I were buddies and we were passing the Scatel cipher, we would have to guarantee that we both had a rod of the same diameter. That way it would work. So some crazy things, not to mention invisible ink. Invisible ink goes way back. If you guys are super interested, let me know, and we'll do an invisible ink lesson. That's really cool. It's so easy to do at home with stuff I guarantee you have in your house right now, even in lockdown mode. Okay, all right. Hopefully you're this far. If not, again, if you're watching the video, you can just pause it. But so what's going on? What's going on down here with the red letters? So far, hopefully this is where you are. You have written your alphabet across the top. You have divided, put lines in between them. This is so that it's easier to read, okay? And so here's where the magic happens. Here's where it becomes a cipher. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create an alternative alphabet. Now, remember that a cipher is a code, is a case where each character is replaced by another character. So we want to replace each letter with another letter standing in for it. So how do we do that? We're going to have two alphabets. So what Julius Caesar did, and for some reason he did this, he was so stuck on this method that they named the cipher after him, the Caesar cipher, and he had a specific way that he liked to arrange his second alphabet. It's called the Caesar shift. So what he did was he took his second alphabet and he shifted it over 3 places. So here, I want you to watch. So A, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then you restart your alphabet, A, B, C, D, okay? So in other words, whatever your second color is, now it's time to use the second color so you don't get mixed up. Put that under your D, okay? So then just write out your alphabet on this bottom row, okay? And what happens when you get down here? When you get to the Z, you're only going to be on W, but you need a complete alphabet. So you just loop back around to the front. X, Y, Z will fit perfectly in those first 3 places, okay? So I'll take another sidetrack conversation to give you a chance to get your bottom alphabet, filled in here. What I'm going to do is, as you're doing that, I'm going to tell you some terminology you kind of need to know if you want to really be a spy and understand ciphers. This alphabet up here, the original alphabet, is what we call plain text. That's when the message is not ciphered, it's not encoded, it's not secret, it's just like the actual message that you want to pass. That's the plain text. So black is going to be the color we use for our plain text, okay? However, the new cipher set, the cipher key that you're going to use is the ciphertext. So you have your plain text and your ciphertext. So in just the next few minutes, when we're practicing an actual cipher, when you hear me use those words, that's what I'm talking about. Plain text is the actual alphabet and message, and the ciphertext is down here. So I'm going to kind of see who's on while you guys are getting caught up here. Excellent. We've got Miss Zaina from Lebanon joining in. Hopefully you can share that with some kiddos in Lebanon, Miss Zaina. I know a lot of them are home from school as well, maybe all of them. We've got Miss Kristen. We've got the Miss Anita. Hopefully the girls there are enjoying this. We've got Clara from Lebanon. Miss Kumbi, Miss Sandra is online. She's a classic Numinds inspirator. Haven't seen her for a while. Hey, Miss Sandra. Hopefully you can make a cool cipher for us too. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do now. So, all right, this just looks like a weird couple of alphabets overlaid on top of each other. How do we use this to create an actual cipher to hide a message? Okay, here's how it works. There's two more terms I want you to know. One is called enciphering, so en cipher. The other is deciphering. So when you're taking a plain message and turning it into a cipher, that's enciphering. But when you're the recipient and you're receiving the ciphered message and you're taking it back into plain text, that's deciphering, okay? So just technical terminology there. So, all right, can anyone I want to start really simple with a single word. Can someone online right now just give me a single word that we can use as our test case? Hey, Laya says hi. Hey, Laya. Maybe Laya or someone else on right now can give us a single word that we're going to use as our group practice. I'll hang out here for a second, wait for someone to chime in with a word that we can use. All right, people. I'm waiting for a good word that we can use to cipher. Okay, there we go. I got. It looks like Laya chimed in first with Brutus. And if you're a history buff at all or know much about Roman history, then you'll know the relevance of that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do it on the same page here as the cipher. Give me just a moment to write. Okay, so here we go. This is our plain text, right? So I'm on one end of this. And this is the message that I want to get to Laya, okay? She and I share the same cipher key, right? So let's assume that we both have this key. We know that it's a shift of 3. And so this is my plain text. I want to send it to Laya, but I know a lot of other eyeballs are going to get on it between me and Laya. So we better make sure that it's enciphered, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my red so we don't get mixed up. Okay, so my letter B, I want to encipher my letter B. So I go to my plain text, B, it's a Y. So I'm going to write a Y right there. I'm just going to do it in a different color right underneath. Okay. All right, how about my R? I go to my plain text R, it's a cipher O, okay? And you guys kind of get the idea. So while I have this clipboard down, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. My U is an R. My T is a Q. There's another U, of course, that's an R again. And my S is a P. Okay, so for example, let's just stay analog for a moment. If I had a piece of paper or a sticky note and I wrote a letter to Laya and I wanted to tell her what the code word was to something or who the person was that we needed to focus on, and it was Brutus. So I enciphered it like this, and someone intercepted that message, what would they see? Your group, right? It looks like nonsense. It looks like total nonsense. So it's enciphered. It's safe as long as the person intercepting it does not have the same Caesar cipher that we do. Okay. Now, are these crackable? Certainly. If you know that I sent this in the Caesar cipher and you know the methodology, with enough time and patience, you could sit there and try to crack it. And there's a thing called frequency analysis that if you have a long enough message, like for example, in this word, there's 2 R's, but if I had a whole paragraph, I could analyze the letters and see frequency. And I know that in regular English language, there's certain letters that are the most frequent, like a letter E, for example, and other vowels are the most frequent. So you start making some guesses and you can piece it together. Okay, so that's enciphering. That's how you create a message that's enciphered. What about cracking one? I have a little test for you guys. So I pre-enciphered a little message for you. And there it is. So that, and to be fair, I have to tell you what the shift was. If I'm asking you to decipher it, this is another shift of 3. And I'll try to get as close as possible. So for example, let me check comments. If anyone, hey, Shova, hello there. Lots of awesome former students out there, lots of Camp Pursuit fans. Okay, anyone out there online at this moment, if they have the cipher, if not, if you don't, that's why I put it on the same sheet as this cipher. If you can read that, someone chime in with like what that first word is, for example, that F. Where are my spies out there? Mr. Adam a minute ago when I was looking for words to encipher. He suggested albatross. That'd be a great one too. All right, anybody out there? What is F? So we're going to go cipher F, right? We have to go backwards. Yes, Miss Kristen, thank you. So that F is an I, right? So this is red, so that's why color coded. So a red F is a black I. So cipher plain text. So now that we got some momentum and Miss Kristen got us rolling, what would that next two-letter word be? It's a good thing no lives depend on this. Or maybe they do. You don't know what the message is yet. Are you still there, Laya? Come on. I think maybe you've even taken... There's Laya came in. She with the whole word. That's correct. So X is A. J is M. So that's I am. Okay, we got some momentum here. A one-letter word. What's that X? Oh, closer, please. Okay, no problem. Well, the young kids didn't seem to have any problem, Miss Kristen. I'm just kidding. Let me try to get this a little bit straighter. Okay, so we have an X. We've already done X, right? So that's an A. So start looking at K, R, J. I'm going to go ahead and get that A in. I am a... I can hear Laya's pen moving like lightning. Her eyeballs, at least, going across. Who else is out there? I wonder if Mr. Adam has ever used ciphers in any of his roleplay games. That'd be a cool combination, in my opinion. What if you had two characters in a campaign who both knew the same cipher? Would that be legal, Mr. Adam? For two characters inside of a roleplay, like a Dungeons and Dragons? Oh, Laya's got the whole next word for us. Numinds. She is correct. Man, if someone from the CIA is on, they might be recruiting Laya at this moment. She's got some skills with the ciphers. Okay, there's one last word. I am a Numinds, something. I'm a Numinds, three-letter word. You got a P. Sorry, guys, this is like backwards. You try to move closer and you go the wrong direction. Okay, so we've got a P, a red P. Looks like an S. Red M. I have a feeling Laya's going to give us the whole word, unless Miss Kristen can beat her to it. Who else is out there? All right. I saw a few likes popping up, but I also saw like an angry face. Oh, Laya! She says she's going to let someone else find it. Someone step up to the plate. Is the last word. Is a three-letter word. The first letter. Yay, Miss Kristen! She answered the call. It's spy. Okay. Beautiful. So here's the thing. We very successfully just de-enciphered one word and then deciphered a text. Now, we did a shift of 3 because that's the classic Caesar shift. You can do a shift of whatever you want. The only requirement is that whoever is receiving your message is using the same shift. So if I sent you a message with a Caesar shift of 3, but the person trying to crack it had a shift of 7 or 8 or 10, it would not work, right? So that's the key. That's the key. Now, a lot of you are stuck at home with siblings right now, And I have a suggestion. Maybe instead of getting into arguments with brother or sister, what if the two of you were to develop a whole communication system that mom and dad could not quite crack? Wouldn't that be kind of a fun twist to this time at home? And I think the Caesar cipher is a good example of that. Let me show you something else that will make it even more fun. Now, today, to learn the Caesar, we just use this classic pen and paper method because I wanted to make sure it had materials that everyone would have, right? But I want to show you something cool. And I'm going to make sure that parents, if you're watching, or kids too, we're going to give you a downloadable PDF of this next thing that you can print and make yourself, okay? But this is called the Caesar cipher wheel, okay? And this is actually a more fun way to do it. But like I said, I couldn't teach you this way if you didn't have this with you. But now that you know how the Caesar cipher works, you can download and print this and make it yourself. So it actually comes, the printout looks like this. It comes on a single page, and you'll cut out the 2 circles. And then you need something to stick in the middle. This is not safe, but I don't have any brads at home, right? I was not prepared to give this lesson necessarily, so I used a tack. I don't recommend a tack. A paper clip will work, just something that goes in the middle. And then here's how this works. It's the same thing we just did. So let's start with the alphabet lined up. Give me just a second. I know you can't see it. Okay. So see how our A and our B and our C are all lined up? So this outer ring is our plain text. Remember how we distinguished on the other one? This inner ring of letters is the ciphertext, okay? Outside plain, inside cipher. So what I want to do is I'm going to shift the ciphertext. So remember the Caesar shift? How many was the Caesar shift? 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. So now see how I have the same thing that I had on just the straight version? I've got my cipher A underneath my D, and then you can do the same thing. And this makes it really easy and fast to adjust. Like let's say you and your sister are writing some secret ciphers, and mom cracked it. She cracked your shift of 3. So you have to somehow communicate to sister that you're going to move to a shift of 11 or whatever. It's really easy with your cipher wheel to just shift wherever you want. But be careful, don't let it slide around in the middle of deciphering the text. If you let it slide around, then you get lost in the middle of the message, okay? Does that make sense? So these cipher wheels we're gonna get you guys the PDF. You can just download it, print it, make your own cipher wheel. And I would love, I'm cooped up at home as well. I would love for anyone, hey, Gabriel, I'm so glad that you joined us. And anyone who did not get to see, I see Sunitha, anyone who did not get to see the whole lesson, you can go back and watch the video and see exactly step by step how we made this Caesar cipher, how we created one, and then how we decipher it, okay? And I can see that my Numinds helpers out there, if you go to the comments, just posted the link to the downloadable cipher wheel, just like this. In fact, it's even pinned to this, okay? So I would love anyone to give me a little mental stimulation and challenge, even after this video is done. If you go comment on it and you put a Caesar cipher in there for me to crack, that would be an honor. But remember, here's the thing though, you have to tell me what shift you used. So if you post in the comments just like a whole paragraph of gobbledygook, I'll say, oh yeah, that must be a Caesar cipher. But if you don't give me a clue about which shift you used, that's going to take a long time to crack. So if you do that, actually anyone who sees the comment, it'll be like a race to see who the first one is to crack that cipher and then post the reply there. But you have to kind of watch your comment if you made it and see who's correct, okay? All right, so that was from the Numinds Vault. The Codes and Ciphers was the class. It's a classic. We've run it many times, and this is one of the great classic lessons from it. This is a cool little tool and product that you can download, make, have at home. And every day at 4 o'clock, tune in. We're going to be pulling similar things like this. Tomorrow's Mr. Justin's turn, so who knows what he's going to pull from the Numi Vault. There's so many classic courses out there that it's almost like we could do this for years and years and not run out of cool activities. So give us feedback. Let us know the kind of lessons and activities you want to do, the kinds of takeaways. For us, this is super fun to engage with you, give you guys stimulating things to do Ciphers, talk about STEAM, right? Ciphers, when you start studying ciphers, you get everything. You get history, you get engineering and technology as you get into the modern ages. Believe it or not, there's a lot of math when you get into some ciphers. It's exciting stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop your likes and your comments, share this with friends. You know what you can do is, if you like this kind of thing, and if you like this slot, tomorrow at 4, jump on, and there's on Facebook, there's a thing called a watch party. You can invite other friends and like have a group of you, even though you're both all stuck in your own homes. You could have a group of 3, 4, 5 friends all doing this together from their computers. Just coordinate with your parents to have a Facebook watch party during the session, and it'll be almost like a little private Numinds session. It's pretty cool. Okay, guys, I'm gonna sign out for the day, and let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to see, and thanks for joining. We'll see you actually in about 30 minutes. I'm gonna chime in for the parents with a little daily wrap up, and then whole fresh set of sessions tomorrow throughout the day, including STEAM with Mr. Dorian, Around the World with Mr. Walter, STEAM in Espanol with Miss Catalina, Role Play Basics with Mr. Adam, Kristen for the parents in the morning, and then like I said, Mr. Justin in the afternoon at this slot. Okay, guys, see you later. Thanks for the love.